Welcome. Today, we're cracking open the financial playbook that pretty much every successful company relies on. It's called the master budget, and it's basically the secret blueprint that helps turn a company's big ideas into actual profitable reality. All right, let's get into it. It really all boils down to one massive question. Think about it. How does a huge company with thousands of employees and millions, maybe billions of dollars, make sure everyone is pulling in the exact same direction? How do they possibly plan every single dollar to hit one unified goal for an entire year? Well, the answer is this incredibly powerful tool right here, the master budget. The best way to think of it is as the company's financial blueprint or its annual profit plan. And it's not just one document, nope. It's a whole collection of interconnected plans that guide the entire organization. So today we're going to walk through how this whole blueprint is built, and we're going to use a domino effect analogy. We'll start with the big picture, see how that first domino falls, follow the chain reaction through the company's operations, track where the money goes, and then finish up with the ultimate financial checkup. Okay, let's dive in. First up, let's get that bird's eye view of the entire journey. Before we dig into any single piece, it's so important to see the whole map of how everything connects together. Okay, now I know this might look a little intimidating, but it's really just a roadmap. See that top half? That's the operating budget. It's all about the day-to-day stuff, making and selling things. And the bottom half? That's the financial budget, which, you guessed it, is all about the money. We're going to break it all down, step by step. Every great plan has to start somewhere. And for the master budget, that first, most important domino is always the same. It's the one thing that truly sets everything else in motion. And that first domino is sales. It all kicks off with a sales budget. And why is that? Well, because you can't really plan how many widgets to produce, or how much material to buy, or how many people to hire until you have a solid forecast of what you actually expect to sell. Getting that sales number right is one of the hardest parts, because if you get it wrong, the whole plan is shaky right from the start. So the crucial takeaway here is that everything that comes after, production, purchasing, expenses, cash flow, it all hinges on that initial sales forecast. It is the trigger for the entire master budget process, which is exactly why the answer here is, of course, the sales budget. Okay, so the first domino has officially tipped over. Now let's follow that chain reaction. We're going from the sales forecast straight to the factory floor, and we're going to see how one single decision directly impacts the next. And this just illustrates that core dependency perfectly. See, once you have your sales budget locked in, then you can create a production budget. And once you know how many units you need to make, you can budget for the direct materials you'll have to buy and the direct labor you'll need to hire. Each step just logically flows from the one right before it. So all these plans we just talked about, sales, production, materials, they're all part of what's called the operating budget. You can think of it as the get-it-done budget. It's totally focused on using what the company already has to keep the lights on and the products flowing out the door. Okay, so the get-it-done budget is all set. But as we all know, making things costs money and selling things brings money in. So how do you plan for that flow? That's where we get into the second half of this whole thing, the financial side of the equation. And welcome to the financial budget. Here, the focus completely shifts from making things to making the money work. We're talking about planning for the big ticket items like a new factory and the capital budget, and then the really, really important stuff like using cash schedules to make absolutely sure there's enough cash on hand to pay the bills. And inside that financial budget, there's one document that stands above the rest. For pretty much any organization out there, the cash budget is often considered the single most critical piece of the entire puzzle. So why is the cash budget just so darn important? Well, this quote says it all. A company can look fantastic on paper, profitable, tons of assets, but if it can't make payroll or pay its suppliers because it ran out of actual cash, well, it's game over. The cash budget isn't just a plan, it's a lifeline. All right, finally, after all these individual dominoes have fallen, from sales to production to cash planning, they all come together to create the final big picture view of the company's future financial health. The whole process builds up to what are called pro forma financial statements. And pro forma is really just a fancy way of saying projected or forecasted. These are basically previews of the company's main financial reports, showing what they should look like if the whole plan is executed successfully. And if we look back at our roadmap one last time, you can see it so clearly. All the different paths and all the budgets we've talked about, they all ultimately flow down to create these three crucial reports at the very bottom. This right here is the destination of the entire budgeting journey. So, what should you really take away from all this? It's that the master budget isn't just some boring accounting exercise. No way. It's the strategic core of a business. It's a chain reaction that always starts with sales, carefully plans out operations and cash, and ultimately aligns the entire organization around a single, unified blueprint for success. So, in the end, the master budget is so much more than just numbers on a page. It's really about turning a vision into a concrete reality, one logical step at a time. And, that's a lesson we can all use, whether we're running a company or just planning our own futures. Thanks for watching.